I'd like to welcome everybody to today's really short presentation on a 10-minute quick start guide to better sleep. I am your host, Dr. Dawn-Elise Snipes. Now, we are starting this brief little series in honor of Mental Health Month. My goal is most days this month, I'm not going to promise every day, to provide you a brief little 10-minute quick start guide for improving your mental health. Sleep is so important to mental health. And, a lot of times when people are anxious, they have difficulty sleeping. When they're depressed, they have difficulty sleeping. But did you know that poor sleep can actually contribute to the development of anxiety, anger, depression, and a whole host of physical health issues? Because sleep deprivation increases our threat response system, or our HPA axis, which increases our cortisol levels, which throws everything out of whack. What we want to do is try to help our body function as optimally as possible. If you are a gardener, you know that plants, for example, even require cycles. They require the lights to be on a certain number of hours a day, but also off a certain number of hours a day. When the lights are off, the plants are engaging in alternate processes that they can't do when the sun is out. We are sort of similar. We require that off time every single day. Did you know when you go to sleep is the time when your brain clears out all of the toxins that built up because of your thinking and living and breathing throughout the day? When you sleep, your brain wipes all that out, clears out, cleans house, and prepares you for the next day. If you don't get good quality sleep, then you don't clear out that adenosine and you end up feeling very sluggish and have difficulty concentrating the next day. In order to help you remember what you need to do for sleep hygiene, I've created the acronym REBRANCHES. No, it has nothing to do with sleep, but I had to get all the letters in. So REBRANCHES. R stands for relax, physically and mentally. Use progressive muscular relaxation to help you relax physically. Tighten, tense one area. For example, starting at your head, tensing your scalp muscles and relaxing. Do that 3 times in order to notice the difference between tense and relaxed, but also to force your muscles to actually relax a little bit more through active stretching, if you will, and bring blood and oxygen to those areas. Progressive muscular relaxation is really awesome. If you want to have somebody walk you through it, there are all kinds of videos on YouTube that you can download, that you can listen to, that will help you walk through progressive muscular relaxation. Totally recommend it. Mentally, it's important to relax, and a lot of us have a whole big struggle turning off our minds and relaxing mentally. Figuring out how you can do that is going to be important. One thing that I encourage a lot of my clients to do, at least to start, is guided imagery. Imagine your favorite vacation or your happy place and think about 5 things that you see or more, 4 things that you hear, 3 things that you smell, 2 things that you can feel, and maybe even 1 thing that you can taste. Taste is kind of out there sometimes. Encouraging yourself to transport into that vision, into that image. You need to use as many senses as possible, and not just, 1 thing that you see, 1 thing that you smell. You need to really get the depth of that experience and make it dimensional so you can almost feel like you're there. Ergonomics is number 2. So R is relax physically and mentally. E is for ergonomics. Make sure that you are sleeping in a comfortable position. Your spine should be in alignment. You shouldn't have any places where you've got sore spots because your bed is too hard, or you're sagging because your bed is too soft. It is important to make sure that you've got a good pillow. Yes, I know you've heard it before. It's also important to make sure that you're comfortable. If you're too hot or too cold, you're not going to sleep well. Some people really love having a weighted blanket to sleep with. They say choose a weighted blanket that's about 10% of your body weight. I personally find that way too light. I like something that's a little bit heavier, but figure out what works for you. I really like to feel like I'm snuggled in. B stands for breathe. I know, you're like, well, I do that anyway. Breathing in order to help you get ready for sleep means slow, deliberate belly breathing. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. And if you don't want to count the 4s, just practice doing it really slowly. Breathing in until your belly's completely expanded. Put your hands on your belly. Hold for until it's not comfortable anymore, and then slowly exhale. You don't necessarily have to count. When you slow your breathing down, you slow your heart rate down, you trigger what they call the rest and digest reaction in your body, which is going to help increase the release of relaxation chemicals. R stands for routine. It is important to have a sleep routine. Go to bed and get up about the same time every day. And yes, this includes on the weekends, ideally. Also, have the same 3 things that you do every night that you can do to trigger your body. With kids, they come home from school, they play, they eat dinner, they take a bath, they read a story, they go to bed. They have a routine that triggers their body that, hey, it's time to start making melatonin so we can get sleepy. We need to do that as adults too. Now, we may not follow that same routine, but we come home from work. What's the first thing you do? What's the next thing you do? Usually eat dinner is going to be in there somewhere. Some people bathe at night. Some people bathe in the morning. I was talking to somebody the other day who had an awesome visual for me. She said, I encourage my patients to bathe at night because they can wash away all the stress of the day. I was like, oh my gosh, I am going to steal that. It is important to do things that can help you start relaxing and getting into that mental space. Another thing I do when I come home from work is to change into my non-work clothes. That way I'm triggering my body. My body knows, oh, okay, we're in our relaxation clothes now. It's more time to relax. I do the same thing if I have to work from home and I'm getting ready for work. I put on work clothes, even if I'm not leaving the house, because it tells my brain, hey, it's time to kick it into gear. Relaxing, ergonomics, breathing, routine. The next one is alcohol and antihistamines. Both of them can help you fall asleep faster. However, they generally impair your sleep quality in the last 2/3 of the night. So you may get to sleep faster, and the first hour or 2 may be great. But after that, your sleep quality is likely going to be significantly impaired. Naps. Try not to take naps during the day. If you have to, make sure to keep them under 30 minutes. If you keep them under 30 minutes, you're likely not going to get into a deep sleep phase of your sleep cycle. So you're not going to mess up your circadian rhythm as much. In fact, some studies have shown that 10 to 15 minute power naps during the day actually help us increase our levels of norepinephrine and our focus throughout the afternoon. Whatever works for you. I hate power naps because I always feel groggy after 10 minutes. I'm like, what was the point? C stands for circadian rhythms. It is important to help your body maintain its circadian rhythms by going to bed about the same time and getting up about the same time every night, but also by exposing yourself to bright light during the day, typically 150 watts or brighter. And you can use a watt equivalent if you're using LED lights, which are much cooler and much more energy efficient. And choose bulbs that are between 5,300 and 6,500 Kelvin. These are way over on the blue light spectrum. You want your body to get blue light during the day to recognize it is daytime. This is sunlight time. In the evening, when you're trying to wind down, as soon as you come home from work, start dimming the lights And ideally switch over to bulbs that are 20 watts or 20 watt equivalents and under 2500 Kelvin. And those are really yellow lights. I have those types of bulbs in the ceiling fan as well as in the lamps next to my bed. And I typically don't have all of those lights on at the same time. It sounds like it's going to be very dim, but your eyes actually adjust to it. And by having the 2500 Kelvin, the yellow light, you are not exposing yourself to blue light wavelengths. So your brain is getting the message that, hey, it's time to start winding down. The next one is hydration and nutrition. Hydration is really important. When you're dehydrated, it actually impairs your sleep. But when you hydrate too much and you have to get up 3 times during the night to pee, that also impairs your sleep. Stay hydrated throughout the day and then figure out, when's the latest that you can drink before, so you don't have to get up in the middle of the night, but also keep a glass of water by your bed. Occasionally you may wake up and you have a dry mouth. A little sip of water here and there is not that big of a deal. And remember that most people do not sleep straight through the night. They may not realize they wake up, but we have these sleep cycles that go in phases of about an hour and a half, where you will go into lighter or deeper sleep. If you wake up occasionally during the night and, to turn over, that's okay. It may not be what you wanted, but not getting frustrated about it and recognizing that we all actually do wake up several times throughout the night, at least a little bit. If you wake up and you get frustrated about it, then you're going to trigger that stress response and you're actually going to cause yourself to not be able to get back to sleep. So I've diverted from hydration. Hydration is one. Really avoiding having to get up during the middle of the night. If you do, make sure that the night lights that you have that light your way to the bathroom are not blue-based lights. They're red or yellow lights. And try not to turn on overhead lights. Use as little light as possible to go to the bathroom. And nutrition is important. Melatonin is made from serotonin. Serotonin is made from the foods you eat, specifically tryptophan. And the vitamins that are necessary to break down tryptophan and make serotonin and melatonin, all of that stuff comes from the food you eat. If you're eating crappy, it may make you sleep poorly. Environment. Pay attention to noise. As quiet as possible. If you need to have a white noise machine on to block out your neighbors or the road traffic, you may need to do that. They found that people who live near wind farms, where they have those big wind turbines, actually have significantly increased levels of anxiety and depression and significantly poorer quality of sleep because of the ambient noise from those wind turbines. If you can use earplugs, if you can use noise-canceling headphones, think about what you need to do to cut out the noise. Cut out the light. That means try to eliminate as much light as possible up to and including using a sleep mask, which will help you make sure that your brain knows that it is still nighttime. Address allergies. I have animals, but I also am allergic to animals. Having animals in my bed, even when I'm not sleeping, they shed their skin cells, they shed allergens on my bed, which makes me more likely to sneeze or cough throughout the night, which is going to impair my sleep quality. Making sure to keep your room an allergy-free zone, maybe even considering a HEPA filter. And finally, smells. Getting rid of any noxious smells is the first step, as well as adding smells that help you relax. For some people, that's lavender, chamomile, whatever it is that helps you feel relaxed and calm. And finally, stress management. If you are going to bed and you are still wound tight as a drum, you're going to have difficulty getting to sleep. Keep a pen and paper by your bed. So if you think of something that you've got to remember, you can turn on that yellow or red light and write it down really quick and then go back to sleep. But also, identify 3 or 4 other stress management techniques that you can use. And, that's more than we can go into in this little 10-minute video. But identify techniques that you can use in order to improve your ability to relax and de-stress at night. That's the short version of sleep improvement tips using the acronym REBRANCHES: relax, ergonomics, breathe, routine, alcohol and antihistamine elimination, naps, reduce them, circadian rhythms, maintain them, hydration and nutrition are important, environment, make it as pleasant as possible, and stress management.